Before she was Marilyn Monroe, before the fame, the diamonds, and the heartbreak, she was Norma Jean Mortenson, a quiet little girl in Los Angeles orphanages doing chores, washing floors, and dreaming of a world where she could finally be seen. In school, she was shy, reserved, a ghost in the corner of the classroom. She smiled rarely, but when she did, the room shifted, as if it had been waiting for her light. Then came the moment that would change everything. She was 13, dressing for school, when she realized her white orphanage blouse was torn. With no other option, she borrowed a sweater from one of the younger girls. It was several sizes too small. That day, something strange happened. Wherever she went, boys gathered, staring, whispering, unable to look away. Norma Jean was confused, but in her diary she wrote, "They stared at my sweater as if it were a gold mine." For the first time, she realized something powerful. Attention could be earned not through status or wealth, but through allure. That day, the shy orphan learned that the world would look at her differently if she made them look. She started smiling more. She began experimenting makeup, posture, clothes, and she noticed something even more startling. Without saying a word, boys fell in love with her. She wrote, "My admirers all said the same thing, it was my fault. They're wanting to kiss me, to hold me. Some said it was my eyes, others said it was my voice, or the vibrations I gave off." It was the beginning of an awakening, not just to beauty, but to power. By her late teens, Norma Jean was modeling, chasing her dream of acting in Hollywood. But producers were blunt. She was cute, they said, but not beautiful enough for movies. She worked as an extra brief flashes on screen, and yet every time her image appeared, even for a few seconds, theaters erupted in catcalls. The audience felt something the studios didn't see. The camera didn't just record her, it wanted her. In 1949, at 23, her career was stalling. Then, one random night at a diner, she met a man who told her that a producer for a new Groucho Marx movie, Love Happy, needed an actress to play a bombshell who could walk past Groucho in a way that, quote, would arouse my elderly libido and make smoke come out of my ears. Norma Jean went to the audition. She didn't just walk, she performed a walk. Slow, rhythmic, a little off balance, a strange blend of innocence and seduction. Groucho Marx watched and said, "It's Mae West, Theda Bara, and Bo Peep all rolled into one." And just like that, the next morning, Marilyn Monroe was born not by accident, but by invention. Her famous walk wasn't natural, it was art. Over the next few years, Marilyn refined her magic the way a musician tunes an instrument. Her voice, naturally high and girlish, was re-engineered into that deep, breathy whisper the world would come to know. Her makeup wasn't casual vanity, it was a ritual. Hours of study in front of mirrors, experimenting with light, contour, and color until her face became a cinematic illusion, half angel, half temptation. Her movements were calculated but felt effortless. Her walk, her gaze, her laughter, all choreographed to suggest what could never be said aloud. And yet behind all that perfection, there was a secret thrill she never outgrew. Sometimes she would slip into bars in New York with no makeup, plain clothes, and an ordinary face. No one recognized her. She loved that because the illusion had worked so well that even she could disappear beneath it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit like, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share it with someone who loves history as much as you do. And of course, subscribe to Timeline Truths, where history reveals the patterns that still define us today. Success finally came, but not the kind she wanted. Hollywood crowned her the ultimate blonde bombshell. The studios wanted that version of her, the giggling, sensual, innocent seductress. She wanted to act, to be taken seriously, but they couldn't see past the glow she had created. And even when she tried to dim it, it shone through. Her acting coach, Michael Chekhov, once asked her during a rehearsal for The Cherry Orchard, "Were you thinking about sex during that scene?" Startled, she said no. He smiled and told her, "All through the scene, I felt sex vibrations from you as if you were a woman in the grip of passion. You don't have to think about it. It's in you." That was the paradox of Marilyn Monroe. She embodied desire even when she didn't intend to. The world saw her as a fantasy, but what they were really seeing was need, a deep, unhealed craving for affection. Growing up without love, she had learned to make people want her. It was her defense, her comfort, and her prison. Marilyn knew the science of attraction. She understood that men didn't just want sex, they wanted the illusion of innocence wrapped in danger. She built her image on that contradiction. The little girl who somehow radiated adult desire. The breathy voice that said, "Protect me and come closer" at the same time. It wasn't manipulation, it was survival. And on camera, that survival instinct became art. Her screen presence was electric because it was real. Every flicker of her eyes carried both hunger and fear. Her lips promised pleasure but hinted at pain. Men projected fantasies onto her, Women projected their insecurities. Everyone saw something, but no one saw her. Michael Chekhov once said, "You can't escape your vibrations," and that's what made Marilyn unique. Many women could imitate her looks, her fashion, her pose, but no one could replicate her energy. She was both the siren and the child, the dream and the wound. Her appeal wasn't just physical, it was emotional physics. The irony is that she didn't invent sex appeal, she discovered it in herself, the way a scientist discovers fire. It frightened her, but she also knew it was her power. She learned to play it like a melody, sometimes soft, sometimes loud, but always unforgettable. What Marilyn became and what the world still can't look away from is what's known as the sex siren archetype. Unlike the theatrical seductress who dazzles with glamour and distance, the sex siren feels close, available, and intoxicatingly human. She doesn't chase, she draws. She gives the impression that she lives for pleasure, that she has time only for you, and that beneath her smile lies something you can never quite own. But the key, the paradox that made Marilyn immortal, is that tiny spark of vulnerability. She could seem like a goddess, but you sensed the scared orphan inside. Men felt they were protecting her. In truth, she was controlling them. That mix, innocence and desire, power and fragility, is irresistible. It makes people believe they're in control when they're already caught. And here's the truth behind the legend. Marilyn Monroe wasn't born with her magic. She built it. The voice, the walk, the image, every detail was a studied creation. But the emotion behind it, that ache for love, that need to be seen, that was real. That's why, decades after her death, she still feels alive on screen. Because when she looked into the camera, she wasn't acting, she was reaching. Her legacy isn't just in beauty or fame, it's in the revelation that seduction is both art and psychology, the blending of desire and innocence, power and need. She turned vulnerability into voltage. She made loneliness look luminous, and she showed that even an orphaned girl from Los Angeles could teach the world how to dream. So when you see those old black and white clips, the wiggle of her walk, the sparkle in her eyes, remember, it wasn't the body or the lipstick or the dress that made her unforgettable. It was the feeling she left behind, that somewhere, behind the laughter and the perfume, there was a little girl who wanted to be loved. And in trying to love her, the world fell under her spell.